Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the morning breakouts and had a chance to dive deeper into the topics most relevant to you in the track sessions. If you are just joining, I am Lakshmi Vidya Peri, the conference chair for TestFormation 2026 and a validation and quality engineering strategist. Now we are moving into a keynote that sits right at the intersection of everything we have been talking about: AI, quality engineering, and leadership. Our keynote speaker, Anu Thothathri, is a leading global solutions expert in quality engineering and assurance at Cognizant. She is known for designing strategic frameworks that embed AI into quality engineering organizations, combining engineering depth, operating model thinking, and responsible innovation. In her role as a QE leader, Anu helps clients adopt AI in ways that build trust, transparency, and intelligent assurance rather than just adding more automation. Today, she'll challenge us to rethink how we lead quality in AI first organizations and how we design teams, systems, and practices for this new era. In her talk, From Testing to Trust, a modern QE model for the enterprise, Anu will introduce a modern QE model built on outcomes, practices, platforms, and people, showing how we can engineer digital trust, close governance and competency gaps around AI, and align QE with business outcomes, AI safety, and regulatory expectations. Anu, we are extremely thrilled to have you with us. Welcome to TestFormation 2026.
Wonderful. Thank you, Vidya. Good afternoon, everyone. And Test Formation, thank you for having me here today. I'm excited and delighted. And there has been days, years back, I used to have a conversation with my customers where they would say, we should use AI. And I'm proud to say I have moved some of my customers who used to say that they want AI to what really works for them when they want to do AI at scale. And AI at scale doesn't mean testing is shrunk. So let's look at it in multifold today. What trust means and what a modern quality engineering model is going to look like for an overall enterprise. Currently, every enterprise right now, every organization is wrestling between a foundational question, correct? How do we test more? Or how do we earn the confidence? Some of you might be traveling in between these two questions. Am I really shipping the reliable software to production? So in the next few minutes, we are going to be discussing about how we are going to be stepping up to ensure there is an outcome of trust being provided to our customers, not what testing has been. Let's take a pass right now. How many of you might be don't raise your hand, I cannot see, or do an internal realization on a Friday evening? We are getting ready for a release and we are being asked as test leaders or QA leaders out there, sitting out there, we are being asked, are we ready for production? Some of us would have answered years back, all the tests are passed. And some of them would have answered, I ran through everything and it is green. Is that what a leader is going to look for? They might in turn ask us, am I going to sleep over the weekend? But sometimes we get a call as QE leaders 2 a.m. on a Sunday night. So what this tells us, testing has been successful. But the trust for the product to go into production, we were not able to get to. It's a mirror in front of all of us, right? We all are getting into that environment where we are a trust deficit. For the next few minutes, I'm going to be categorizing all of my whole session is 5 main topics. Number 1, the trust deficit. But why the trust is deficit? What's happening? What is the force that's bringing us to get to the testing to trust? That's my second topic. From there, let's move on towards what is the modern quality engineering organization is going to look like, a sample architecture that we want to look at. From there, an adoption, a playbook that is going to help us out. I have sample 12 months type of a model. We do need something to play back and we need something as a roadmap to implement. Otherwise, it is going to be just the pointers that we would be discussing. So let's also discuss on the roadmap. Along with this, what as trust leaders we have to be doing, what is winning looking for us. So these are the 5 main topics that we would be double clicking today. Beginning with the trust deficit. I have mentioned multiple times already, correct, on what's going on here. Testing gains the confidence. We all know about that, correct? There is a provocation that we have. Do we draw a distinction between what the trust means, what testing means? It's a mechanism, right? We all know about that. We all are from the quality engineering background, so we know it's a process that we are handling. Whereas trust is an outcome that we focus towards, so that when we are deploying, when we are scaling, the process or the product is successful. And I have based the whole next few sections from the old quality report, plus also a Forrester report as cognizant from my organization. We have partnered with Microsoft and we have built a view around it. You would ask me, why are you saying there is a deficit in trust, Anu? And this is an information that I was able to get from the old quality report. Appears like only 30% of the leaders have higher confidence in the quality of the release. Why is that? Any inputs I would like to see in the chat, and I will look at it at a later time. And it seems 70% of testing is still manual. This world quality report is not from 2015. It is 2025 and 2026 report. And I am seeing over there that there are predominantly manual testing that's happening. And QE budgets are failing because we are accelerating, shrinking, and running around and making the releases. And we are still seeing defects in production, irrespective of how much of testing that we do in the lower environment. This is a 3-year trend that World Quality Report has shared with us. So this information, this is showing to us testing is not trust. More testing doesn't mean more trust. So the investment in testing has been bigger, but is that reaping the benefits that we are looking at? Some of the reasons why as testing that doesn't have delivered the trust is what you see over here. We look at quality as a gate, correct? Am I green? Did I make sure all the QG1 through QG4 has been successful across the SDLC? Sometimes we look at it as a delayed in the releases. Sometimes we also have to handle the budget overruns, correct? So this gives a distrust to some of the leaders. So quality is still being considered as a gate and not a signal for what needs to be moved to production. The second element that is being looked at is coverage. Hey, I had 90% test pass rate. But there might be 3 or 2 critical parts that got missed to be covered. What did the coverage really look at? There is a business risk and the customer journey that needs to be validated. So there are issues related towards that. So there is a false confidence that's coming into play. Along with this, AI demand. I think from the morning we have been talking so much on AI demand, and I also had a session where we were discussing about how in the AI world we have to be transforming ourselves, the confidence that we need to build. When AI systems are coming into play, the quality vocabulary has to modify that. We have to start looking at what is the LLM accuracy. We have to look at the hallucination rates. Is the model drifting to left? Are there bias in the outputs that are coming out? What is your AI red team doing over here? The traditional automation is not going to work in such a type of scenario. So industry has transformed, AI systems are already in place, so we have to step as quality engineers and quality engineering organization. And there are few enterprises who are still looking at QE as a silo, not as an integral piece between the dev, product, or the ops, plus also the customer side. So QA sometimes becomes a bottleneck. That is the blame cycle that we all get into. Some of us are used to it. So now we know why there is a deficit of trust and what are the forces that are changing, and structurally why this model is going to become obsolete right now. Number one, the changes that are coming in, and we are adapting to these changes and accelerating to them. 50 to 60% of the code is being generated by AI. No one can deny that, correct? The Clarks of the world, the Devins of the world are keep on generating the dev code and sometimes even the test code. Velocity has become too much. How are we going to look at the releases being deployed daily? Or we have moved away from daily to some of the enterprises multiple times in a day, the Amazons of the world. And are the AI systems complex? Are the AI systems giving us a linear model? There are tools that cannot test what's happening, but we need to understand what needs to be taken care. So there is an autonomous and automation to be taken care. Along with this, the regulatory obligations that we have. Let's not forget the European acts plus the DORA Act that's coming into picture. We have to ensure there is the right evidence and traits of AI-powered systems that are being captured. And customer experience. We are looking at a revenue risk. We are not just looking at the defects that are going into production, because there are just 2 or 3 digital poor experience that an enterprise might have would make a customer turn back from them and move on to the next one. With AI, we are seeing more systems coming into the market, but we have to ensure there is the right complexity and the velocity mandate, the regulatory and the customer experience are being addressed. So now we know there is a deficit, plus we also know there are forces that are happening in the industry that is making us move into a new quality engineering model. These are my foundations. Now let's look at what is the code, what is the new architecture that we need, leveraging the trust signals, not just the test has passed in the lower environment, right? The first element that we want to look at the architecture is assurance by design. As QE members, we want to look at how trust can be integrated, embedded in the development stages. There are tools that are available that support to bring in QE as a TDD member early in the life cycle, which helps in bringing early trust integration. The second component that we want to do is validating the data sources. What does a AI system do? Bringing in the contextualization, building the knowledge base before it takes care of the model. So we want to ensure the data sources are secure that could be fed to the model, plus there are the right access controls. We also hear the story about how prompts can be made a vulnerable issue. I have heard a story from one of my customer that they were throwing a prompt as, can I get the account number from one of the BFS customer? Can I get the account number of the CEO ABC? The prompt significantly said not having the access. But when we built the story to the prompt, the CEO who travels twice and uses XYZ car, plus also uses the corner office. When the history and the story got added to the prompt, the result was coming out. That's not something as QE members we want to look at it. So access controls are going to be very, very critical, and implementing the right set of functionality and reducing risk is critical over here. Along with this, I kept mentioning the regulatory compliance, that we have to keep an eye on what are the acts that are coming into picture, plus also the right set of the QE practices we want to implement, which is going to be focused on improving the confidence on QE, bringing the data governance checks. Now, the second component of the architecture is how are we going to get into the autonomous quality with agentic AI, right? So look at this in twofold. There is a humanoid testing, plus there is an autonomous quality. We talk about human in the loop, human on the loop, human above the loop. Is there a human in picture? Yes, there comes the humanoid testing, but there is also autonomous quality that we want to get into. In Cognizant, we look at this in multifold. How there can be a work companion might be, as a tester, I need a companion to create test scripts. And then I also need a companion who is going to give me inputs about what is going on with the business process, plus the industry view. That is a knowledge companion that I need. And then the third companion that I would need would be a quality guardian, the compliance and the risks that are involved to enforce the standards. And there is the human oversight and the orchestration that I was just mentioning about, in the loop, above the loop, and on the loop. So we bring the expertise. So there are agents with all these three as companions, plus human oversight that comes into picture. Along with this, we also want to make sure QE teams are going to be enabled to do activities related towards contextualization, plus also the data heavy tasks, not just the regular manual testing. Now, we have looked at what are my architecture components on the QE and autonomous. Now, look at it from the business or the customer angle. We want to extend the QA towards the trust-based quality checks. We also want to understand what is the real-time feedback loops, looking at what's the AI system drifting towards. Are there prompt risks that we are getting into? How do we enable all of this into the feedback loops? And also look at the methodology of doing pilot releases more often, and also guardrail for production. And evaluating the AI components continuously is going to be one of the key components. Don't just test them in the lower environments. Understand what's happening in the upper environment in production, and take that feedback loop and feed it to the lower environment. So you looked at it from the domain angle, you looked at it from the QE angle, but now let's see how we are going to build testing around all of these trust signals, correct? Number one, we are used to testing of, I have had the coverage, correct? Now we have to move towards an intelligent test fabric. AI-generated test scripts. There is a self-healing that is going to come. There is a risk-based test coverage. From user stories to executable test scripts are going to be something which happens in minutes. So we don't want to be looking the coverage based on what is in the test lines or the code, dev code. We want to be looking at the coverage more from the real-time risk score based on the business critical paths or your user journeys. And also start looking at things more from the predictive quality intelligence, bring the confidence index, and also treat things more towards what is the trust assurance, the trust signal. Start bringing in the live trust dashboard. We are looking at this in the level 1 through level 5. People who are associated to TMMI, we all are used to all these level 1 through level 5. Most of the odds are in the 70% range in the level 1 that you could see here, and they don't have a trust signal. Whereas level 5 is where they have the trust by design that we were just discussing about, and they have dashboards. Level 4 have AI adoption. There are autonomous agents. There is a confidence score that is coming in. And whereas also the coverage signal that's coming for L3 and L2 type of enterprises, we want enterprises move from L1 to L3 towards a L5 where they start maintaining the trust dashboard. We look at three main indexes. A quick one, A, quality evidences. How do we get to that? Plus also the confidence index that we want to build based on the domain angle, the architecture angle, plus also based on the AI outcome, so that QA can say that we are good to go towards I'm ready to go. There is going to be a sleep over the weekend. That is the confidence that QA can start giving by leveraging the trust dashboard. I know I have put so many things in place for you, an architecture view or a trust dashboard. Now let's take a minute and look at how we could adopt some of these practices. A roadmap would definitely help anyone to get to this. This is coming from some of the practices that we have had for the past few years from the experience we have done for our customers. Stage one, take 3 months to get to this, where we are going to be understanding what is the maturity level, identifying the pain points, and then we also want to understand the technology that are being adopted. What is happening at the people level? Are they AI enabled? Do they have the literacy to start testing AI and also the agents that they can build? So these are the areas that we are going to be looking at. So a stage one for 3 months and plus a stage two where we want to scale the intelligence, deploying AI for QE lifecycle, correct? For a product line, or you also want to bring in prediction and prevention as part of some of the strategy. And as part of the third stage, we want to start looking at how can I architect that trust, which we have been discussing about. The trust dashboard would go live. And I'm going to have AI systems, which is going to have the quality capability live. Plus AAQE talent is going to be to the next level. So look at this like your 12-month type of a roadmap that's going to help you to scale towards bringing in trust as part of your enterprise. I made an attempt integrating the L1 through L5 towards the TMMI level, and all of us are used to this initial manage, defined, and measured and optimized layer over here. From the trust journey perspective, the level one is where we see the deficit that we all discussed about. And level two is where we are looking about AAs being used in QE as part of the life cycle. And level three is where we are looking at scaling the intelligence, bringing in AA native QE center of excellence. And we are going to have the quality dashboard that would be live. And L4 and L5 is where I'm going to looking at trust by design, which we discussed, plus the trust dashboarding and the regulatory comes into picture as an integrated view. Now, you would ask me, what is the ROI of trust? A quick snapshot for you. 40 to 70% of the test cycle time reduction and the authoring can be leveraged by bringing in AI. There is going to be release velocity, which is going to be faster. Plus, defect escapes can be taken care. Along with this, we are seeing some of our customers are looking at 100% to 200% of ROI in 2 months or 3 months. Now, what does trust leaders are going to be doing from here? A quick call of action for you all. Look at bringing in the architecture where you could ship your product very faster, 3 to 5 times faster than what you are used to be, because AI is going to play the role in the QE lifecycle. Along with this, make a cautious decisions of the confidence score based on the data that you are going to be getting it from the feedback loop from AI, not just the tummy feel that we always get, hey, are we ready to go to production or not? And your QE team is going to be focused on not just maintaining the script, but overall quality strategy. You all heard this morning on what QE is going to be doing going forward. They are going to be making sure the right strategy is being brought and customer experience is coming up first. And we also want to look at the cycle of not just identifying the defects, we are going to be predicting and preventing the defects as part of the QE life cycle. Along with this, enable the industry benchmarks that others can follow. As trust leaders, we are going to be focused on all of this along with the regulatory evidence, not just looking at how the QE teams are going to be burnt out or responding to the standards. So I'm going to leave all of you with this thought that as a trust leader, I want you to take these actions as the next step. Let me pause and conclude my speech. I know we have short on time. I'm closing and opening up for the questions.
Hey Anu, that was an outstanding keynote for giving us such a concrete model for moving from trust and from testing to trust, with outcomes and practices and platforms and people all aligned to digital trust, AI safety, and business results. So there are a few questions. Let's start with the first one here. If all tests passed is no longer a meaningful signal of trust, what should executives be looking at instead to decide whether an AI enabled release is truly safe to ship?
We want to look at this in multiple stages, correct? Now, I'm not going to be just having the test coverage. I'm going to be looking at things related towards my domain angle, number one. And my number two is going to be the release confidence that we want to give as testers. Yes, the test coverage is not just the component. I want to bring in my release is going to be successful because I have covered all the customer journey workflows. The third element that we want to look at, the safety and the security posture of the AI application that's going to go into production. Now, production reliability. Okay, so the integrated layers, the data governance that we were talking about, the data confidence that we want to give, that comes as the fourth component. Along with this, please also bring in the AI governance and the readiness. Don't miss things related towards AI red team standards. You want to bring those elements. You want to bring in the regulatory governance that would come. So you would have certain weightage for all of these parameters based on the business that you are in. Example, banking would have more weightage towards the governance readiness, whereas retail might have lower. So based on the industry and based on the customer, based on your enterprise, these weightages would vary. Hope that helps with you.
Yes, definitely. That directly answers the question with governance and trust. Let's take we have a few minutes, so if you're
Sure.
good, we'll take a few more questions. Uh, uh, the next question is, what key metrics or signals should organizations monitor in real-time feedback loops to effectively detect anomalies, incidents, or emerging risks in production?
Is your AI hallucinating? How are you going to find out in production? Look at the real time numbers from the feedback loop that you are getting it in production. Of course, you are going to monitor the same in the lower environment. That's number one. And how is the result drifting from what you really wanted? Get the customer feedback. So the feedback from the customer is going to help you to improve on the prompts library that you are going to have in the lower environment. And along with this, at the end of the day, the result has to be satisfactory to the end customer. So when we are looking at AI systems for validation, it is not like a binary 0 or 1. The results are going to be a story that you are going to get from your AI chat. So ensuring that there is a customer satisfaction, there is less of a drift, plus also there isn't a hallucination that are happening is going to help. So key metrics that you would want on AI applications. Now, some of my customers, they ask me, Anu, we implement AI for QE. How are you going to measure that? That is one other key metric that as QE organization, we have to look at it. What was my pod maturity before adopting AI? What is my pod maturity? The accelerated test design creation. It's not just that. Make your QEs respond back as a customer to give a feedback if the AI generated the right set of test cases for them. Feed that as an input to ensure that you are measuring the agent. You are not measuring the QEs. You are not measuring the testers. Agents need to be measured and showcase that as a dashboard to the enterprise leaders as QE organization, along with measuring what's going on in the AI application. Thank you.
That's completely actionable to all the attendees who have joined here. Um, so the couple more questions. The next one is, how does your modern QE model change the role of QA from a phase at the end of the life cycle to an ongoing discipline that engineers trust into AI products from design through operations?
Interesting, correct. So it's
Ah,
you got me there.
yeah,
Should I say it's just a mindset change? No, not at all. Okay.
true, true.
Is it just a transformational change that we have to get to? Not at all. I would say it is a step change that we all have to jump in right now. I'm going to share the experience that what as cognizant we are doing within our own organization, plus also with our customers. Correct. Most of them start with, hey, I have a co-pilot given to my quality engineers. What that helps? Yes, I have a pair programmer, or I have a junior quality engineer who's walking along with me as part of my IDE, where I throw a prompt. Sometimes our QEs would say that, hey, I'm throwing a command and it gives me the result. How do we change that mindset to a context engineer? That's the transformation that as QE organization we are going to get to. I'm going to have the role of a context engineer who is going to bring in what's happening for a customer, what's happening at the enterprise level, not just a tester. The role of tester or the testing is transforming. No one can take the testing away from the life cycle. Testing would be done by the agents, but as quality engineers, we are going to be transforming to context engineers and SDET so that we play multiple hat.
That gives a concrete way to rethink the QE model these days with the context engineers in place. We have one last question that is, how can organizations practically combine AI assisted testing, Gen AI, LLM evaluation, and production SLOs into a single outcome based trust score that business stakeholders can understand and act on?
So there are customers who still use mainframe application. There are
That's
going to
true.
be customers who still have the .NET or the Smalltalk.
Definitely,
But
yes.
what AI is doing on top of that is, hey, let those systems sit as is. I'm going to bring an experience layer on top of those systems to my end customers. That's a model that some of the enterprises are adopting to. So, if you have an organization or if you are working with an organization that is doing some of these type of things, your trust score is going to be different than an organization which is going to build a complete AI based applications. When we are looking at AI based applications, don't miss the vulnerability. LLMs are vulnerable too. Okay. How does the prompt can be? I gave an example of the credit card and it was a live example, but we put the guardrails in there. So that's where your AI red team come into picture. You are going to be ensuring the right set of OSAP vulnerability taken care for the LLM set of applications. Plus, you are also going to make sure all the stuff that I was just mentioning, I'm not hallucinating, I'm not drifting, I'm not biased. Bring those parameters for AI applications and build your trust dashboard. And whereas the applications that are using AI as more an enabler would have a heavy domain based index that needs to be integrated with all the trust dashboard that I was just trust parameters that I was just mentioning about. So it's not single view of quality over here. You want to look at it not like a tailored system. You would look at it a dual model, dual reporting indexes. Back to you.
I love the idea of using the trust achieved the way you shared as a shared language between business and engineering. That's a powerful reframing. To everyone listening, I'd encourage you to pick up one idea from this session, whether it's AI assisted testing, Gen AI evaluation, or production silos, and experiment with it in your own context. And thank you so much, Anu, for this extremely insightful session. We will pause here on this session, and I'll hand it back to the other hosts in the program for Rogerio's keynote. Once again, thank you, Anu, and thanks to all of you for the great questions and engagement. Please don't forget to provide us feedback and engage in the platform to earn more points and win prizes. And looking forward to seeing you all in the next sessions. Thank you.
Thank you.